Should you give up on making art? Let's talk about it. This is a complicated topic, and it's something that I feel like most of us who've done this for a while kind of stumble into at some point. It's a solemn thing to talk about because art, by its very nature, brings most of us joy, but there's also this desire for many of us to do it in a professional sense, to move forward. Even if that's just doing something simple like I am right now with making the videos online and presenting some of that artwork, that is an ambition in and of itself, though it's a little bit more easy to attain, obviously, than making your living as an artist. So I think the first thing that you need to narrow down in on when you're thinking about whether you should give up on art or not is, what do you mean by art? And what do you mean by give up? Do you mean walk away from it entirely? If that's the case, I would pretty much unilaterally say no. If you find yourself watching a video like this, it means that you have a desire to make things. You might have an inbuilt need, like I do, to produce things because the ideas just sit in the back of your head festering if you don't. Or you might have just had some lofty ambition. Maybe you're trying to follow in the footsteps of someone. But if you are asking yourself this question, the likelihood is that you can't leave art entirely and still be satisfied as a human being. You will probably have to keep it in your life in some capacity. So I would highly recommend that you not leave it entirely. However, if what you're really asking is, should I continue to pursue this particular thing artistically? That's a much harder question to answer. If you're going to art school right now and you're looking at the career and trying to figure out where it's going to go, you probably need to sit down and do some research. You need to find some people who've done the same thing that you have or want to do the same thing that you're aiming towards and figure out how that's worked for them. If you're trying to strive and work as a professional artist and nothing is landing, then you might need to reevaluate your strategy. If you are struggling to make ends meet, then it probably is time to kind of step away from things or try something new. The art journey is a difficult and a strange one, and to answer this question broadly is just exceptionally difficult. Traditionally, I would say no, you don't need to give up on your art, but if your art is pulling you away from other things that are, in turn, it's making your life far more difficult, then it might be time to walk away from that particular thing for a while, for a time. I think that if you are watching this video though, if you are a person who is stressed, who is anxious about their artwork, who is worried that their journey is reaching its end, you're not going to be able to get to where you want, then I'm sorry. It's difficult. I know that. I felt that myself. So many artists have. I think the important thing is that you find other people who are in a similar position to you. People who will hear your concerns and validate them, because they too have likely been in that exact same situation. When it comes to giving up on art though, I don't think it's good for your soul. I don't think it'll be good for you as a human being, especially if this is the kind of thing that you're gravitating towards. But if you need to walk away from a dream for just a little while or shelf it so that you can get other things in your life in correct order, that's not such a bad thing. I taught in the schools for 11 years. I taught middle school and high school art. And in a lot of ways, I think from the outside, it looked like I was still highly involved in the art realm. And truthfully, I was. And I think I convinced myself this as well. Over time, though, I started to understand that I had inadvertently shelved my own artistic dreams in order to do this more practical thing. Once I knew that, it was troubling to me. I had never really stepped away from art, but I had gotten to a point where I might only do 1 or 2 paintings a year because I was focusing all my time on teaching. And then, of course, I'd hit the summers and I was exhausted. Once I had that realization, it started to eat away at me though. I had inadvertently shelved these dreams, these artistic desires I had, and I'm getting close to 40. And so it was a little bit scary. I was faced with this, oh my goodness, am I ever really going to be able to do these things? One of the big ones was I wanted to write a book. I've always wanted to write these books that have been in my head for so long. So I've slowly started to work on those things. In the background, while I was still teaching, I started to work on building skills. I started to take classes again and slowly build up towards this thing. So in my unique case, I never really gave up on art. I never really thought about giving up, but I kind of found that I accidentally had. And so slowly, ever so slowly, I started reintegrating those things into my existence and moving forward. And I'm in a very good spot now, and I'm just going to keep moving forward. I still have a ton to learn. I'm nowhere near the artist that I want to be, and I haven't achieved most of my artistic dreams. But again, I'm only almost 40. I still hopefully have another 20 or 30 years to keep moving with this. And as long as my hands don't start giving out on me, I should be okay for quite a while. So I guess the conclusion here is I would pretty much recommend that you never leave art entirely, that it's probably going to be bad for you as a human being if you do so. But if you need to take some time away from really driving after those artistic dreams, even do what I did, where I was working and teaching for a long period of time, I never really detached myself entirely, but I had to put those things on a shelf for a while just to live. If you have to do that, I think that's okay. But I would encourage you, never let go of your dreams entirely. Dreams are important. They hold us together, they bind us to reality, and they give us hope for a future that might be. As always, thanks for listening. Anything else you'd like me to talk about, or any questions you have about what I've talked about today, let me know in the comments below. Have a good one, y'all. See you soon.